So thank you for joining us for Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears Topics and Tidbits Live. We are glad to be back this week. I'm Catherine Ritchie. Jennifer McCormick is here too, getting ready to share us out to all of our pages so people know that we are live this evening. So, or if you're watching us later, that is fine too. We're agents with Mickey Travels and Let's Adventure Travel, joined together to share our experiences and knowledge with you. Thanks so much for being here. Before we jump in, we appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button and the bell icon so you get notified anytime we go live or add a video. And we love seeing all of those thumbs up so people know that you're watching. If you are here and you want to comment where you're watching from, or as we're chatting, if you have any questions or commentary, we love interacting, hearing opinions and things like that. If you don't know, we also have a Facebook page, Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears, a guide to all things Universal and Disney, a great resource for planning a trip, having wanderlust if you haven't been able to take a trip or thinking about it, a great place to share information. So that is a great place that we love reading about. But again, it's not just from the two of us, it's from everyone who's on that page as well. So
all right.
Welcome
and we're
in.
all shared out.
Okay,
so
great.
Happy National Plan for a Vacation Day.
How convenient.
I know.
We love that.
I know. Well, it's a great time of year to think about what your plans are for the year. For the folks who are thinking about spring break, it's time to get on it now. I had plenty of people last year trying to get away on a last minute spring break trip and everything was booked. And even now I'm running into some difficulties when I wouldn't expect to, but people are ready to get out there. But also fall. I've had a ton of people contact me for summer, fall. I'm booking through, December for a lot of places. And so, people are really thinking about what they want to do for their travel plans this year. And I mean, obviously, we always plan our own travel. Right. So it's so nothing new for us. We've got a lot going on. But now is a great time to start thinking about, what do you want to look for in the year? How do you want to budget for it? What do you need? Believe it or not, I've had folks reaching out about 2023, 2024. They're like, I know I want to do this in a few years. What do I need to know? How am I prepared? And so that's great because there's so much to know and to do and to be aware of. And so last minute travel is fun, but it's really nice when you can spend some time planning ahead too, right, to know what you really want.
Yeah. Well, and who doesn't love having a countdown too?
Or multiple countdowns.
I know. We love a good count. We do love a good countdown. So same. I've been having some people reaching out saying, oh, well, it's pricing out for 2023 yet or things like that. So I think people just thinking ahead. And I think that even was happening pre-pandemic where we were seeing people think just, some people do plan this out a few years or this is your big trip or timing. Working with a family that are taking the trip because it's a high school graduation, things like that. They did start planning, another year in advance of that because they knew when they wanted to go. So never hurts to start thinking about that early, especially if you're in a cold part of the country. Like Jennifer always takes the cake on this one, but
I do. I left the house this morning. The wind chill was -25. It was not fun. So
it wasn't that cold here.
No, I mean, it's cold. I'm still getting a kick out of chatting with everyone because, we call Florida all the time. We talk to Disney or Universal folks and got a kick out of talking to them, about it being so cold down there, saying, oh my gosh, it's going to be in the 50s today. Said, if I had the 50s tomorrow, I would be wearing, well, I don't really wear a lot of shorts. I would be wearing capris. I'd be capris and a t-shirt. Yeah. I mean, that would be so warm.
I know.
Because it's colder than my refrigerator. It's colder than my freezer outside right now. So
crazy. You're right, though. It's all relative, right? It's not that cold here. We have a lot of snow on the ground. I went sledding with my youngest at the end of the work day today. And I apparently thought I was half my age because I went down the first time and went over a jump. I thought I sprained my wrist.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So if I'm like a little slower, I am like quite sore. Haven't been sledding in a while. We haven't had good snow. So we finally have gotten snow here in Northeast Ohio, but we were out there and I was just in Florida last weekend. And so I thought, oh gosh, and it was cold, as you said, in Florida. So where it was in the 70s, and I was in a tank top walking around, and there were people, Floridians, in their coats. So yeah, it's so funny.
That's great. Before we delve into
Mhm.
the news, we've got quite a bit to talk about in the news, and then we will chat about the value resorts at Disney World. Last time that we met, which was 2 weeks ago, we talked about the value resorts at Universal. So we thought we would talk about the value resorts at Disney World. But before we get started, I just want to say a very happy birthday to my husband. It's his birthday today. And so I don't get to celebrate. We don't get to celebrate often enough. Busy, life is kind of crazy. We'll go out to dinner this weekend, but I had to acknowledge that. So if anyone wants to comment in the Facebook group or, in the chat, his name is Matt. So you can just, wish Matt a happy birthday.
Well, and for any of you who have visited our store where you can get our merchandise, Matt is our wonderful designer of those amazing logos and all the different iterations. So we're lucky. He's a great part of our Wizarding Wands and Mickey Ears family. So that's amazing.
Super talented. Yeah.
He is.
Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, no, we're lucky. We just kind of come up with the ideas and then
and then he
just happen. It's so great.
That's the story of my life.
True partner. Yeah.
All creative things. I'm like, here's what I want my business card to look like. And he's like, okay.
Such a great skill set to be married to. So nice.
That's wonderful. So happy birthday, Matt. Thank you.
Happy birthday. Yes. Yeah, so we do have a fair amount of news, as I think the joke last week was it is a Tuesday. I think that was Paul Chamberlain was like, it's a Tuesday, right? That's what some things. So I think we did mention, but we want to mention again, because it's the Grand Floridian Spa will be reopening again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So if you are, say, a spa, really, a Disney, yes. So many wonderful spa experiences to enjoy. So that is one, again, a lot of people stay at the Grand Floridian for that reason or visit. So the fact that that will be reopening is huge news for anyone thinking about that as part of a trip as well. So something to think about. Right. And after we talked about all that cold weather too, Epcot's Flower and Garden Festival is getting closer as well, which is exciting. So
yeah. And one thing that we missed, or I felt like I missed last year during the festivals, were the special performances. And they're back this year. So during the Festival of the Arts right now, they have the Disney on Broadway series where they bring in Broadway talent from some of the Disney shows. So Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, you name it. And they actually perform at Epcot as part of your ticket. You're able to see them perform. And so this is the same during the Flower and Garden Festival, only they have what they call the Garden Rocks series. And so there are a series of different bands that play throughout the festival. And what they're doing is they're offering dining packages like they do at the Candlelight Processional and for other special events where if you book one of these dining packages, you get priority seating. And so it doesn't necessarily shut everyone else out, but it would just mean that you don't necessarily have to wait in a significant line if you really want to see one of these bands. And so those dining packages are specifically at Beer Garden, Coral Reef, Garden Grill, and Rose and Crown. So it's only at a few of the restaurants, but they've got people coming like Rick Springfield, Kool and the Gang, the Pointer Sisters, Starship, Toby Mac, lots of different fun bands and Flock of Seagulls. So I'm going through the list again thinking, oh yeah, Herman's Hermits. I mean, fun folks that where their music.
Right.
And I love this part of the festivals. It's just one more thing. So you've got the food kiosks, you've got, well, for Flower and Garden, all of the amazing topiaries, and also these performances. So Epcot really goes all out for the festivals, and I'm really glad that they've extended them so far so that you can enjoy them for more of the year.
Absolutely. So those are open now for booking. So if you're thinking about that, which is nice, if you're, maybe those restaurants don't appeal to you, or you're not sure you want to do that, you can still go and see the concerts. That's the great thing. A lot of seating there. And what I like too is even as you're walking by, you can see it all, you can hear it all. So maybe you just stop and listen for a song or two, or maybe the people you're with aren't as into Rick Springfield. And you got a meet and greet with Rick Springfield. That is your tidbit for tonight. Yes.
That's great.
Yeah. I was pretty excited, and he said how glad he was to meet me. And then I got out and all my friends, he had said, of course, the exact same thing. It was shocking.
Oh, yeah.
Really nice. Looked good still. So yeah, so those are all included. Some people, either if they're locals or they know, they're like, oh, we really want to see that. They might plan their dates around it, but sometimes you can just be excited about who you get depending on what day you're visiting Epcot as well.
Yeah. Well, and that's a tip. If you're visiting during the Flower and Garden Festival, take a look at the Epcot website, see who's, going to be performing. Right. And, it might change the dates that you go to the parks. You might decide you want park hopper tickets so you can head on over at night. That's really a common thing during festivals. Folks get there and they're like, I think I want to spend my evening in Epcot. I'll spend the whole day at, Hollywood Studios, but then let's go to Epcot for Harmonious, for, the rest of the entertainment in the evenings. And so that gets to be pretty common during the festivals. If you've seen any performers at a Disney festival, so Festival of the Arts, if you could, comment in the chat, I'd love to know who you've seen, or even during Candlelight Processional, if you've seen specific narrators for that event.
Or the ones we mentioned, would you be excited to see? Yeah, there are a lot of good ones. It is a wide variety for sure. And again, it's appealing to the masses is the idea of it too. So, but again, those popular songs, you'll see families in there too, and the kids will be dancing in the aisles and that kind of stuff. So it's really, again, very family friendly and fun too.
Yeah.
You see a lot of adults dancing too.
Right. No, I remember a lot of these songs from growing up, but then my daughter knows everything because it's been on Glee. So
yes.
She's a rewatcher of Glee.
Good point.
So everything that was popular, in the 80s and 90s is popular for anybody who watches Glee.
Very true.
It's there.
Yeah. So just again, as we talk about another perk of a festival as well, maybe you say, oh, okay, that's not necessarily my appeal. It just adds to the environment and the ambiance of evening at Epcot, which is really fun too. So again, why it can be a fun date night, or you're there with a group to be able to enjoy that as well. So something to keep in mind this spring.
And we are slowly seeing Disney World open more restaurants as well. So not everything has reopened yet, but we're getting pretty darn close now.
Yes.
Because Flying Fish at the Boardwalk is reopening this week. Jico, which is a wonderful signature restaurant at Animal Kingdom Lodge, reopens in February. I think folks staying at Saratoga Springs are going to be excited to see that the Turf Club Bar and Grill is reopening. It's a table service restaurant there, and they've had a few takeout items, but the whole restaurant hasn't been open. And so that's reopening in a couple of weeks. Family favorite for us, Ale and Compass at the Yacht Club. They're returning for lunch. And so they're slowly reopening for their meals. And then Cape May Cafe is returning to buffet service for breakfast and dinner. So they previously were a buffet restaurant, came back, were family style. They're returning for a buffet. Characters aren't yet returning, but the buffet is returning. And so it's just baby steps to get back to normal there. So yeah, every time something reopens, I feel like we're one step closer to getting the dining plan back. And I still, every day people are asking about the dining plan. And I keep saying, I know, because my kids like the most expensive things on the menu. And I wish I could just get the dining plan so I didn't have to worry. Or not worry, but just think, do you really have to get the filet mignon?
You just don't have to think about it.
Really need the lobster.
I do. Well, and the great thing, the more places that opens, that means there's just more options. So again, it's gotten better, a lot better, but it becomes a little more difficult sometimes when everyone wants the same type and there aren't as many. So especially at the resorts, that there's some more options too, that just gives, again, more variety as you're there too. So I know it's just exciting. And Cape May Cafe is just our that's our sentimental favorite too. So even though I'm sure the characters will be coming back, we don't know when that might be happening, but the fact that they're moving in that direction is a really good sign.
Right. And just more dining reservations to go around. Dining reservations have been pretty hard to get. So the more restaurants that are open, of course, the more space to absorb all of the folks more in the parks. So that's wonderful too.
Right. And I would say that too, just as a little tidbit too. We obviously help you with booking dining. If you're booked with us, all of our services are completely free. We have some clients that like to book it themselves, and that's fine too. But perhaps you don't get that reservation you really wanted the first time out of the gate. You just keep watching, and especially that as it gets closer, because people do start dropping them or changing them, or even, we've gotten scored some really good ones even, the night before, or that 24-hour window when people have to drop. I know it's wonderful to have a plan, but if you're flexible, or maybe you decide, oh, maybe we do want to do that, just keep checking. Things are always changing. So
yeah, I'm always keeping an eye out around 30 days. Because if you have a package booked, everything's due in full 30 days. So if people are just still have a tentative trip, they're not quite sure if they want to take it, 30 days might be, where they'll cancel. Otherwise, it is the night before. I will always check if I couldn't get a reservation that I wanted, just to see if it shows up. So if I'm in line for a ride, I'll hop on the app, check a couple of times, throughout the day. I'll refresh it, see if it's there. And quite often we've picked up things last minute. And the nice thing about the app on the dining plan is it shows you everything that's available. Yes. And so, sometimes I'll look through that and think, oh, well, I wanted that, but this looks great too. So why don't we grab, whatever. A few trips ago, Chef de France, we realized we hadn't eaten there in a while. Lovely. We love it there.
Yeah.
I don't know why it hadn't, been on our list for a while, but we went back and it was just so great. But it was there because it was a last minute option. Right. And we realized, gosh, this is something we really enjoy. Let's grab it. And so,
that's how I got Topolino's when I was there in April. We did not have a plan, and I just kept stalking it. Kept looking, and it popped up, and we grabbed it that afternoon, maybe. I mean, pretty quick. So again, you have to be flexible. I was there without kids. It was a little easier, but again, plus a lot. We have clients that just love watching the app. We do too. I mean, but again, that gets you familiar with the app too. So just another little tidbit. So when you get in the parks, you know how it works. You know how, if you do need to do anything, you're not trying to figure that out for the first time. No one wants to do that on their
right. Yeah. And before we, I don't want to digress too much, but before we move away from the app, I also want to mention that if you're considering using Genie Plus, if you purchased Genie Plus, start playing with it early. You can do everything short of book that reservation, your lightning lane reservation, but you can see what it looks like to select folks, to select a lightning lane. You can see what it looks like when there are lightning lanes available. So play with the app, look at the tip board, make sure you have an idea of where you're going with those things. And then, pay attention to all of those details. Know what your period of time is. For example, if you book something for later in the day, you've got a 2-hour window after the park opens where you'll have to wait, and then you can book your next lightning lane. So if you book something for the very end of the day, because you really wanted whatever that attraction was, park opens at 9, you can book your next lightning lane at 11. So it's just all of those little details. Make sure that, you ask questions about them, you read up about them, because once you're in the moment, I think it's tough to remember those things. So the more familiar you are with the app and with the experiences, the easier it's going to be to navigate once you're there.
Absolutely. So true. And then some new exciting dining news too, new options. We love that as well. So Hollywood Studios has been one that has not had as many options. It's one of the, again, I don't want to say harder necessarily. It's just not as big. So there aren't as many dining reservations, but the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue Restaurant will be opening in 2022 with Pixar characters. So very exciting to have another option that of course will be, already sounds cute by the name too.
I know. Well, you know what? Hollywood Studios is one of those places where all of the dining options are popular.
Yes.
Everyone, has their favorite. So ours is 50s Primetime Cafe. everybody else I know, not everybody, but a lot of people really like sci-fi or Hollywood Brown Derby. There are folks where Hollywood and Vine with the characters, the Disney Junior characters, they do that every time. Mama Melrose is very popular for, Italian Steakhouse. I mean, you name it, folks have their favorite and they just book. So it's really nice to have something, in the Pixar, Toy Story area, to have all the Pixar characters, and then we'll also get a proper gift shop as well, is what it sounds like. So
yes,
finally, Toy Story Land, I think, is going to fill out and be what it was meant to be to begin with. Because we all love our gift shops.
Well, it's such a cute land too. I mean, it is just, you can't help but smile as you walk through there. So the fact that there'll be a dedicated space, you're so right. I mean, they have the carts and things like that, but the fact there'll be that, it's just, so good.
Yeah. I love the atmosphere. There's just something so joyful about listening to, Slinky Dog Dash, or, the sounds of alien swirling saucers, and my favorite ride, Toy Story Mania, because I am competitive and it's a game and I like to win.
I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad.
I used to be good, but now my family is, really improving.
Oh, no.
There are only so many points to be had on, in each location.
There is. Yeah, no, I've really never been good. So
now I need to work harder for my points.
You
do. It's really nice to see, more coming about in that area. So
right. So that's the Disney World highlights in terms of news. So we're going to jump across to Universal Orlando. We talked about the concerts at Disney World. It's a very different feel at Universal. The names, you might recognize more of these names, but these are concerts that are on select, actually Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And this is throughout Universal Mardi Gras. So we've talked about this in the past. Mardi Gras is their biggest festival. I mean, they are drawing crowds because of, you'll hear these artists and the food and the atmosphere and the parade, everything about it. So just to give you, these kick off February 5th. So Sugar Ray, Diana Ross, Bare Naked Ladies. I know, Sticks. I mean, Marshmallow, for those of you who have younger, or you might be a Marshmallow fan too, but Seal. I mean, it is Gavin DeGraw. It is a range, but I'd say a little more popular. It's not, it's a little of everything. John Party, if you're, country.
I mean, LL Cool J.
Yeah, so sorry that I skipped over that one. I'm Jimmy Allen, who's one of the big country rising stars as well, Jason Derulo. So popular music, again, part of your admission. So you're not paying extra to see these concerts, but that is part of what is happening. So this is definitely one where people plan a little bit better to know, okay, love this artist, I want to go to Universal, I could do both as well. So I know we had a question, was it probably in the past week, someone asking about some of those concerts and the seating and things like that. And you're just kind of there taking it all in like a true concert experience.
Right. But no extra fees for these. So now there is one, I can't remember the name of it now. Universal is hosting the Christian music concerts.
Oh.
And those are an additional fee. And all that's coming into my mind is Night of Joy, because that's what it used to be when it was at Disney World. I'll look to see if I can see the name of that. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Okay.
And it's not there. But that's one event that is a specially ticketed event. You have to buy the ticket for it. But for these Mardi Gras concerts and for the Flower and Garden Festival concerts, they're all included.
Yeah. I'm looking to see, there's a couple while we're there, Jennifer. Well, I'm there. Well, I am not, I know. So one of Lee Bryce. I don't know if I'll get to go see Lee Bryce, but I'll let you know. Yeah. So less than 2 months, I'll be there. So that's exciting. But yeah, so some cool concerts. We shared those in our Facebook page as well. So if you're wondering about those, that you can look, Universal Orlando has them too. So it's a great lineup as well. So again,
I'll be gone by then. Shoot, I'm right in between the concerts.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah.
Bummer.
I know. Why was I think I'm off on I don't even realize it's the end of January. I am so in denial about what day it is. But Universal again is booking. We're saying that too. If you're thinking about that, let us know. There are still select dates coming up for spring breaks or long weekends or things like that. But if you're thinking about that, we would love to help you get that booked or price out some options.
Yeah, and the Christian Music Festival is called Rock the Universe.
Okay.
So it's January 28th and 29th. So it's coming up here real soon.
Got it. So that's an option if you're in town or if you're a local and wanting to go check that out.
Absolutely.
So jumping over to the ocean and Disney Cruise Line, one of our favorite things to talk about. So big news announced today as well. So did you hear any rumblings of this coming?
I didn't. I was surprised, and I'm very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't seen the news, Disney Cruise Line announced that they will now have Pixar pals at sea. So select 7-night voyages. It's a day-long celebration. So if you are not familiar with Disney Cruise Line, they have Marvel Day at Sea, Star Wars Day at Sea for some 7-night voyages. And now we will also get Pixar Day at Sea. These are traditionally January, February, March for all of them. So for Star Wars, Marvel, and now Pixar, they'll be somewhere in the January, February, March calendar. And so they've had Marvel Day at Sea and Star Wars Day at Sea for a few years. And now Pixar Day at Sea is going to be coming in 2023. So I'm excited. I love Pixar characters. I mean, I love Marvel. I love Star Wars too, but this is a different environment. I mean, these are completely different, ends of the spectrum. So there's really something for everyone now.
Well, I was thinking about that too. I think these characters, they're so interactive. I mean, I remember, when my kids were little and we were at Hollywood Studios and meeting characters from The Incredibles and just how, their personalities, all the characters are great, but these characters could be a little more too, which is so fun. So again, Bo Peep and Mike and Sully and Joy and
Sully.
I know. It's just and Boo. Joy and Sadness from Inside Out, Doug and Russell from Up. Who doesn't love them? Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Frozone from The Incredibles. So characters you might have seen before, but were not as typical. And of course, your gold standards, Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and Bo Peep. But really fun. And again, another reason 2023 may feel really far away. I mean, I literally wrote on 2 cards today, 2021. I don't know if anyone else, I corrected myself before we sent them. Cruises book out sooner. So this is just another reason to be thinking about what is on an itinerary and that this would be a great addition. Sounds so fun.
Yeah. Well, 2023, January, February, March, it's already booking. It's out there.
Yes.
Folks can, sign up for these sailings right now. Something that I found really interesting in the information that we received is that there'll be a new nighttime spectacular with an Incredibles experience. And then they will also have a new theatrical show with Miguel and the family from Coco with music and puppetry. And that I wonder, so Disneyland Paris several years ago for their 25th anniversary brought in some, life-size puppets. If you've seen like the Lion King on Broadway or the Finding Nemo musical, like just large life-size puppets. That's what they had for Coco, just in part of the park. And so I wonder if they're using that, type of experience. It was really cool.
Oh, I bet.
So they'll have a new theatrical experience with that too. So
right.
See it.
Yeah. So, and who doesn't love a good dance party on a cruise ship? So that will be there as well. So really fun. Again, anything that you've enjoyed on a Disney cruise, just another level about that. So a new interactive character dining experience hosted by Sheriff Woody, Jesse, and Bullseye. So very fun sing-alongs, cowboy serenades, I'm sure. Country breakfast food is what they're promising as well. So that's very fun too. And then a dinner with dishes inspired by the Pixar Animation Studios California locale. So again, and everything that we were seeing today, it's really talking about families as well. And so if you just think of Disney and an immersive experience, Finding Nemo will have an interactive conversation with Crush and Animator's Palette. So, I mean, all of those favorite little visits. So it's very fun and something to look forward to in another year as well.
I know, before we know it.
Yeah. So 9 select Disney fantasy cruises from January through March of 2023. So if you have questions about that, or you're thinking about that, or if we can price those for you, please reach out. We would love to do that and give you more information as well. So these are cruises departing from Port Canaveral, and we'll sail to several of the, the ones that Eastern and Western Caribbean itineraries as well. So again, who doesn't want to be thinking about being on a cruise ship right now?
Oh, I'm thinking about being on a cruise ship
3
times this year.
I was going to say, your countdown's getting there. Mine's a little longer
people
than
keep
yours.
asking me, what's my outlook on cruising? I said, well, it's fabulous because we had a great time in November. And I mean, I know it's unfortunate that cruises aren't sailing at capacity, but I quite like that cruises aren't sailing at capacity right now because everything is at your fingertips. Your dining team can be even more attentive. I mean, it's incredible. Right. So we're definitely ready to cruise again, April 2nd. So
coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. One more piece of news that just wanted to, put out there is that if you are looking to travel to Hawaii in the near future, or, Aulani Disney Resort and Spa is located in Hawaii, which is why this is a news piece for us, but the government of Hawaii is considering changes to their Safe Travels program. Basically, folks are required to be vaccinated or have a negative test within, I think it's 72 hours of boarding your last flight. But they are talking about redefining what fully vaccinated means to include boosters. So this hasn't officially gone into play, but it sounds like it's coming very soon. And so if you have your 2-shot series or the 1-shot with Johnson & Johnson, sounds like that might not be enough to be considered fully vaccinated, not to have to test prior to entering Hawaii in the very near future. So if you're thinking about getting your booster, maybe now is the time to get it if you're looking at traveling to Hawaii soon. And then for anyone who is not vaccinated, they also have a current requirement where you have to test within 48 hours if you want to take advantage of indoor dinings, indoor concerts, some different indoor experiences as well. And so the different locations, make sure that you're either vaccinated or you've tested negative within 48 hours to take advantage of a lot of those. So again, with that definition of what fully vaccinated means, just means that you'll want to, be paying attention to what's coming out of the government of Hawaii. If you're booked at Aulani, you will get a notification. So keep an eye on your email because if anything were to come through, then Aulani's going to send you that email right away.
Right. And I guess the one thing I would say too, as we all know, testing has become delayed and harder to find and things like that, is to do that research. I was on the plane last week. It was a woman, she was heading to Jamaica and they had to test before they went. And she got her test like an hour before they arrived at the airport and she had done it in plenty of time. So, but again, you want to be able to just to give yourself, it's a tricky window. It definitely is. And you're at the mercy of, as we all are with staffing and testing and things like that, but definitely just do your research before it's right before you have.
Yeah. And hopefully that'll cool it a little bit with people not needing to test quite as frequently. But, I know we just did some routine tests over the weekend with my family and normally we would get them within 24 hours, maybe 36 hours. And it took 4 days. So it's really tough to make decisions around if you're waiting for 4 days. And again, for us, it was just routine testing because my kids are in school. We wanted to double check. But if you're not feeling well, if you're doing it for travel, then you definitely want to make sure you've got a couple of different options and really research those options.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as always, we'll keep you updated on anything like that when it comes to testing changes or anything news related. If there's things that you maybe heard and we haven't shared it yet, feel free to let us know too. But we'll move to tonight's topic. So as Jennifer alluded to 2 weeks ago, we focused on the value level of resorts at Universal Studios Orlando. We thought we'd do the same tonight at Disney World. We get a lot of questions. There's kind of 3 different 4 really levels of properties at Disney World. And the value level, I almost wish the name wasn't value personally.
No.
I mean, that's just what it is. But there, you do get a lot of value out of them, but there's a lot of difference in them as well. So we thought we'd kind of break those down a little bit. If you've stated any, you have a favorite, feel free to drop that in the comments or in the group. We have our favorites as well, and what we recommend a lot to our clients. But as always, theming rules the day for some families and what makes the most sense for them.
Yeah, yeah. So do you have a favorite value resort?
So I like Pop. I'll be honest. I think that's always just because of the bus. I mean, I liked it before the Skyliner. To say, that was one that we stayed at, and I just liked the ease of it and the theming. But the fact that it had its own bus, and now the fact that the Skyliner is there, it's just that feels like a hands down decision.
Yeah, that's funny. I agree. So for those of you who are not as familiar with the Disney levels of resorts or what to expect, the value category of resorts are the most colorfully decorated resorts on property. They are, larger boxy buildings, but the rooms have all recently been renovated. They are lovely, very comfortable beds, great showers, but the actual theming throughout the resort are larger than life cartoon characters of some sort, depending on what the theme is for that resort. And so they're great for young kids, especially who just feed off of those lovely bright colors. But the truth is, I'm spending a night at Pop Century. When we go in February, I decided to pick up an extra day because who doesn't? I do.
Okay, of course you did.
I picked up an extra day. And so I was able to get a night at Pop Century, which I love. There are a few different options available, but we love Pop too. There's just something about the resort that's so fun and whimsical. And I think it's because the theming there is the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And so very nostalgic because you get, and with the different buildings, the feel of those different decades. And so I remember the first time we went there and my kids were excited to see things like Mr. Potato Head. And then you would see like an 8-track tape and they're like, well, what's that?
Right.
So and a Rubik's Cube, and they've got a gigantic Hot Wheels. And so it's just a fun resort. But then now it is on the Skyliner, which has increased the price a little bit. But it's an amazing mode of transportation. So it absolutely makes sense.
Absolutely. So, and there's different room categories for the value resorts as well. So there's the all-star properties. So all-star movies, music, and sports. So again, that same fun theming, but based on that theme. So that oversized balls and things like that under sports and music. So, again, it depends on your family sometimes, but I've certainly had clients who said, we are a music family. That's where we want to stay, or we're a sports family, whatever it might be. So those are options. Then you have Pop Century, and then you have Disney's Art of Animation Resort as well that has very different room categories there that we'll talk about in a minute. But so those are all those value level of resorts, which are great choices. Again, most people are not coming to Disney to be in the rooms a lot. And they're, again, based on the levels too, is you're really paying for amenities and the room size and things like that. That's in location. That's a big part of it as well. So looking at all of those things, I mean, there's still transportation to the parks. That's all part of it, no matter where you're staying on property too. And the values have that as well.
Right. So the all-star resorts are located in what they consider to be the Animal Kingdom location. And so if you're familiar with the layout of the Disney World property, you've got Magic Kingdom, you have Disney Springs, Epcot and Hollywood Studios are sort of in the middle, and then Animal Kingdom is off to the west of the property. So they're sort of center west, I guess I would say, further south in the property. but they are 3 resorts that are right next to each other. And so you can, walk between the 3 of them if you wanted to. And they all, have different theming, but they're great. We like movies in the preferred rooms in the Toy Story section. You get the big Andy's door and it's super cute. Never been there and you're going to Disney, even if you're staying somewhere else, if you've got some free time, I say take a bus on over to the All-Stars and just take a look at them because they're really neat places to stay. The other nice thing about all of the value resorts is they have fairly substantial food courts. And so none of them have table service restaurants like the deluxes and most of the moderates, but you've got really easy grab and go food all day long, something for everyone, very kid-friendly options, and lots of fun cupcakes and treats. All of that is available there too. So, sometimes when I'm staying at a deluxe property or a place that doesn't have a huge food court, sometimes I really miss just being able to send the kids to the burger line and to go on over to the pasta line or just to get a side of green bean, like just something where you've got all of the different options and you can just get something for everyone in the family without having to, figure out a theme.
Oh, no, I think that's a really great point. There's still pools. There's a lot of different options for that as well. So you're getting again, the same things you get at any Disney property. Just it's the more overt theming is what I would say. So that doesn't appeal to everybody. For some people, they say we are coming to Disney and we want the full experience.
Right.
We can give you that. We can give you that with a lot of theming, but that is that really over the top. It's of course tastefully done. So, the pictures we see of clients and we have them, with your kids in front of these larger than life things is so cool too.
Oh my goodness. The Art of Animation opened in 2012 and I'll never forget it because we were originally booked somewhere else. And as soon as they announced that it was opening, we quickly switched our reservation. I want to say we had booked months in advance, but then we were going in October and they opened reservations in May. And I was on the phone. I'm like, I need to get over there. Right. My kids were 4 and 5. When we stayed there right after they opened, I think they opened in September. We were there in October and it was absolutely magical. So at the Art of Animation, they've got 4 different sections. 3 of them are suites. 1 of them are standard hotel rooms. The standard hotel rooms are the Little Mermaid section. And so we were in the Little Mermaid section and they loved every minute of being, we were in the Ariel building and the Ariel building is as far away from anything as you could possibly get. But they were so excited to be in the building where Ariel was in front versus Ursula or King Triton. So like things you didn't even know to expect. But we walked forever to get to the furthest room from the furthest, we were just in that room. But they loved every minute of it because they got to be in the Ariel building. Right. So they're just that you never know what your kids are going to gravitate to.
Right.
Properties. So
yeah. So Art of Animation has the suite style, which are wonderful. So either if you have a larger group or you want the fact that you can have a separate bedroom is such a selling point for people. I know traveling at Disney and traveling regularly can be really different because I know I get a lot of families who say we always have 2 hotel rooms. That's just how we travel. And then sometimes we price it and that's maybe not as feasible, but to know that you could have a suite, there's some other suite options obviously too, even it's a value, but the fact that you can have that room, you can, if you need to put the baby to sleep or my client recently was like, my husband is just going to need to take a moment. This is just, so you can shut that door for whomever it is. Right. But that you have that space to spread out is very appealing as well. And the themes are so fun too. So.
Yeah. So the themes of the suites, there are 3 different sections. You've got the Lion King section, the Nemo section, and the Cars section. And so you pick, when you book one of the suites, you pick which section you prefer to be in, and that's where your suite will be. When it comes to the suites at the Art of Animation, they do price at a premium. They are not cheap rooms. They are, they're pretty pricey. But one thing that I've noticed is that when discounts are released, you will almost never get a discount at a Little Mermaid room. Almost never. That's a standard room. They book in full. They're incredibly popular. but the suites almost always will have a discount available that you can apply. And so I know we've mentioned this before, but if you book a trip through us before promotions are released, and then Disney releases a promotion, we automatically will go through and see if we can apply that promotion to your reservation. And I have to say, to a person, I've been able to do that with the suites at the Art of Animation so far.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's something to keep in mind, that odds are really good that they'll have some type of promotion.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So again, and they price higher because it is the size and the amenities of the room too. So they do tend to price closer to a moderate compared to the values, just because of the size and the space and how many you can sleep in that room too. So if you're a family like me, a family of 5, you can't sleep a family of 5 in every property. That's an option too. Or if you're bringing maybe grandparents with you and things like that, or you just want to have the room for the kids. I mean, I've certainly booked that for families with teenagers too, but to have those resources right in the room is so
nice. So, and 2 bathrooms.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 bathrooms.
That's worth the price right there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this is another property where I think if you've never been there before, it's fun to walk through. I think especially in the evening. So even if I'm staying at Pop Century, if you're not familiar again with the properties, you've got Art of Animation, Pop Century, and then there's a bridge in between. It's called the Hourglass Lake. What's the name of the bridge? It used to be like the Generation Gap Bridge or something, because history. Maybe we'll talk about that eventually someday. But if you walk over the bridge where the Skyliner is located, so the Art of Animation and Pop Century share the Skyliner, you can, enjoy the other resort. You can't use their pools necessarily, but you've got easy access to the food courts. But I love just walking on over to the car section at night. The lighting is fabulous. You feel like you're in Radiator Springs. All of them are great, but the cars section at night is adorable.
That's a good point. Yeah. So if your kids have those interests as well, I mean, that is a great way to kind of give them another fix is walking around those properties that have those design elements too. So
well, and a quick tip, if you're staying at the Art of Animation and you are, planning a pool day, if you get to the Cars pool early, they've got cozy cone cabanas. And so they're huge construction cone cabanas, basically. They're free, first come, first serve. And so if you are there and you're planning a pool day, get to one of those cabanas early and just, hang out there all day. You certainly could. And it's a nice protected space. And they're, again, adorable. It's a great pool.
That's a great tidbit. So Art of Animation has both the suites and then the standard rooms. Again, like Jennifer said, those Little Mermaid rooms are incredibly popular. A lot of people have little princesses and even princes that love that theming or love the idea of a themed room, but in a regular room. So those tend to book really quickly. So if you're thinking about those, we tend to usually can find a suite, or again, it depends. Maybe you have your heart set on Lion King. Can't always say when those might be available, but you have those 3 suite options. Nemo rooms are the closest to the main building, so those do tend to price a little higher, but they're all great, really great rooms. So, and Art of Animation has the largest pool on property as well. So, as we always joke, and even as my kids get older, they're fine with any kind of pool, but the idea that it's the biggest one is kind of fun too. So. That's a nice feature as well.
Yeah, I think we should mention point out the differences between the pools. I think the big difference between the quote unquote value resort pools and moderate and deluxe is that the pools are highly themed, wonderful spaces, but they don't have pool slides. They don't have hot tubs. You still have a bar. You've still got places to grab drinks if you want to, but no hot tubs and no pool slides. So if that's important to you, you're going to want to look, moderate or deluxe. But I don't know. I would say most of the places where we've spent, the kids have gone down the slides once or twice. They just want to hang out in the pool. So
I think, it's not something they necessarily would miss.
No, I don't.
They probably wouldn't notice it necessarily.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the theming is so Wonderful. And then again, at all of the resorts, at the feature pool, they've got activities during the day. And so they will have cast members who are playing games, trivia, bingo, hula hoop. They've got music bumping. I mean, you've got stuff going on during the day. It's keeping, the kids and the adults occupied. We love the trivia and the name that tune and
Right.
all those fun pieces. And they've got prizes and fun stuff happening. And so this is at
Mhm.
all of the resorts.
Well, and I think that's a really good point too, because certainly there's amenities at a deluxe pool. You're not going to see the value, but the fact that there are still all of those fun things that are happening, whether you're staying at the Contemporary or staying at Art of Animation, the same level of fun too, and absolutely engages the kids. They meet little friends as well. So that's the really fun part. If you want to have a moment on your lounger and have a drink while they're occupied. But just another fun element. And again, that's the difference too in a Disney vacation as well, that they're engaging the whole family or that whole experience. So,
Right.
I bet your family's really good at the trivia.
At the trivia, well, yeah. Yeah.
We're okay.
My kids like to know. I mean, my kids,
Yeah.
Well, anyone who has teenagers know that your kids know everything.
Correct.
Anyhow,
Yes.
my kids
So-
like to know everything
Yeah.
too. And they like to be right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
trivia is a lot of fun. But we also like the movies under the stars. And so that's something else that all of the resorts have, not just the value resorts, but they'll have the movie under the stars. And I mean, that's a lot of fun at night. If you are done with the parks, you're tired, but you're not ready to, not yet ready to be in your room,
Mhm.
you can enjoy whatever that Disney movie is that night.
Right. And there'll be a different schedule for every resort each week. So they're really good about posting that in the lobby or out by the pool, but usually there's, a schedule you can see. So what's coming up, and again, it depends on the resort, but yeah, the movies that's such a fun way to be watching a Disney movie at Disney. How great is that?
I know. And then the times for the movies range usually, in the winter months when it gets darker earlier, they'll start at 7. And then later on in the year, it's 8 or 8:30, depending on, how long it takes to get dark, because it needs to be dark out for them to show the movies. But so the value resorts are wonderful. One that we haven't yet mentioned, or we have it with the suites. When we talk about the suites at the Art of Animation, there's also another value resort that has suites, and that is All-Star Music Resort. And so it's one of the All-Stars. They recently renovated their suites. And so basically in your suite, you end up with 3 queen size beds. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're looking for your best value for, a family of 5 or 6, it's likely going to be a suite at All-Star Music. And I can't tell you how fast those are booking up these days now that those rooms have been renovated.
Yeah, I think they were always popular, but now I think people have caught on or thought, oh, okay, now that it's renovated, anytime anything gets renovated, it's
right.
hot cakes, but absolutely, that's true. So, and that's that kind of room category. If you're thinking about that, booking as far out as you can just gives you a better chance of getting that as well.
Right. Yeah. It used to be that they would have, they have a pull-out bed, they had a pull-out chair, like a pull-out ottoman, and then a queen bed. Now they've got the queen bed and 2 Queen Murphy beds. And so same mattresses on everything, really comfy, excellent spaces. They've got more they don't have a full kitchen by any means, but they've got like an apartment size fridge. So a little bit of a larger fridge, microwave, some extra space if you're going to be there for a while and you are fine preparing food in a microwave, you can have quite a bit of storage. And again, the 2 bathrooms make a big difference.
Right. So. Game changer. Yeah.
Right.
True. And again, we can help you with the different room categories that are available too. So that, you may decide on a resort and then the room category can affect the price as well. So there's pool view rooms, there's preferred rooms. So you're closer to the main building and transportation. For all of the values, it is bus transportation. And then we mentioned the Skyliner as well for that too. But again, those buses are always running. So again, it depends on your proximity of where you're heading, but that's a nice feature too. And that's one thing I liked about Pop Century. I think we both do. That's the only bus that's coming is just Pop Century, where the All-Stars can share. So that is one thing. And art of animation has its blessing as well.
Yeah. And then we love the gift shops. I mean, all of the resorts have great gift shops
they
too,
do.
and arcades. And I mean, we've just got wonderful memories at all of the resorts. And we stay deluxe a lot. We still stay value a lot and everything in between. And I mean, I can't point to one that I think is better than another. It just depends on the type of trip that you're taking, and your expectations, what you're looking for. It's not like one is better than the other. It's one is better for what you're looking for. Might be better for you, but we love them all.
Absolutely. So lots of options. So if you're thinking about that, I mean, we could talk for hours about more of them,
Right.
but that's just kind of that high level, kind of breaking them down for you without our the visuals. But we do have on our YouTube channel a lot of videos, and we keep adding to those as well. So that's a great resource if you're saying, all right, I'm looking at this, and we know you look online, what does it look like? We try to keep sharing that. So that's a great resource if you say, what does this property really look like? And we keep adding both resort room and resort tours as well.
Yeah. And I guess one other little tidbit is that once Hollywood Studios has their fireworks back, you can also catch a glimpse of the fireworks from Pop Century and from the Art of Animation. So I know, several times we've ended up in Building 5. Like, I even know what building I want to be in. I want to be in Building 5 in the 60s section up on the top floor, so I can see, some of those fireworks from Hollywood Studios, but you can see them down from the path. And also, if you are looking for a running path or a walking path, they've got, a really nice one around the Hourglass Lake at Pop Century and the Art of Animation. And so you can walk around the lake and be in both. It's not huge. It might be a mile and a half. So it's not, it's not a place where you're going to get a really long run in, but you can easily just, get a quick 5K in the morning if you want to get a run in before heading to the parks. I don't. I like to run Disney. I'll run at home. I walk enough at the parks, but I know lots of people.
There are a lot of people. And when you've done your, I think especially when you were at Saratoga doing your live stream, and the amount of runners you run by.
Oh yeah. All over. That's a great property. That's a great property.
That's a great one if you're a runner, for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just so much to consider. But if you are looking at Disney, and especially if you're looking at the value resorts and they're pricing a little bit higher than you expect, just know that you're getting more than, when we travel outside of Disney, if I'm looking for a value, I'm thinking a Hampton Inn, a Fairfield, just a simple boxy place. And this is totally different. You've got a whole bunch of entertainment. You've got those lovely food courts. You've got the transportation options. So it's much more than just a hotel. And it's hard to know what that means until you've actually been there, until your kids are like, I thought I wanted to go to bed, but now I want to watch the movie. Let's all go, get some popcorn and watch the movie. It's different, and you don't know until you're there and you see it and you experience it. And, it's just tough to differentiate if you don't know what to expect or how they're different. So definitely, keep an eye on things and make sure you know what you're getting for what you're paying.
You're so right. True.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited to have that extra night at Pop Century.
I know. That's a bonus. How fun.
It will have been 2 years. We stayed there for Princess Half Marathon 2020 before the world shut down.
Oh gosh.
And
yeah.
So I'm so excited to go back.
Yes. Good.
So yeah, well, that's our hour already.
I know. Crazy.
Well, obviously we've got plenty more that, to talk about where that comes from. And so we decide the topics from week to week, depending on, what happens in that week. Sometimes it's all news. And so sometimes we'll just get inundated with news, and that's all we can do. But we're trying again, every week to have different topics that would be of interest to you, friends, family. If you know folks who are planning a Disney vacation or thinking about planning a Disney vacation in 2023, 2024, please share out Wizarding Wands Mickey Ears YouTube channel or our Facebook page, Facebook group. The great place to ask questions and just to get acclimated to what to expect. If there are things that you would like to see us discuss, if there's a topic, please, send us an email, comment on this stream, or, on YouTube or the Facebook page. We've got an email address. It is wwmeadventures@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to us there. But, as always, anytime you are on the YouTube channel, if you could like any of those videos, that helps the algorithm so that other folks can find our videos when they're searching the same things. If you don't already subscribe, please hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon, because the bell icon will give you notifications when we go live, when we post new content, all of that good stuff. So anything that I'm forgetting, or are we ready?
No, I think that's all for right now. Yeah. So we look forward to chatting again next week.
Yeah. Until next time, enjoy the journey.